Welcome. Come on in the kitchen. I'm your host Rashida, and today we're going to do a little bit of baking. I'm going to show you how to make a Kentucky brown butter cake. This cake is delicious, it's simple, reminds me of Louisiana Crunch cake. Come on in the kitchen, let's get ready to bake. In this Kentucky brown butter cake, I'm using flour, sugar, eggs, buttermilk, vanilla, a little bit of rum extract, baking powder, baking soda, and I'm actually using brown butter. That's what's in the cup. I took some butter and melted it, let it cook for a while to bring out some rich flavors in the butter, giving it an extra special flavor. So I'm using brown butter in the cake batter, and you'll notice that richness, that flavor that comes out the butter, opposed to just two regular soft sticks of butter. To make the brown butter, I just took a stick of butter. I melted it until it became about a golden brown amber color. And at that point, once it was melted, I then had to cool it, put it back in the refrigerator, and let it solidify for about an hour or two. Then I brought it back down to room temperature, hence the brown butter. So first, I'm adding that brown butter, mixing that in my mixer, and I'm going to go ahead and add the sugar to that. And I'm going to let those mix for about a good 5 to 7 minutes. There's only a few of us left at home, so I did go ahead and cut the recipe in half. I did not make the full size cake, so you will notice I did half the ingredients, but I did put the recipe to a full cake on the video. So I'm using butter, sugar, and once this is mixed well, I'm going to go ahead and add in my eggs one at a time, and then let those mix in. Helpful hint, anytime you're making a cake, make sure you let your sugar and your butter mix for 5 to 10 minutes. It just makes the cake lighter, less dense, and that's always what we're going for a fantastic cake. So now I'm adding in my eggs one at a time and then mixing them in. So just to go over our steps, at this moment I mix the butter, the sugar, and the eggs. After that, I'm going to go ahead and add my flavorings. I'm going to add the vanilla. I'm going to add a little bit of rum extract. Mix again. Then I'm going to go ahead and add my dry ingredients and my buttermilk, alternating. I'm going to start with the dry, end with the dry. So I add the flour, and the flour has the baking soda, the baking powder, and the salt already mixed in it. So when you have dry ingredients, always mix your baking powder, baking soda, salt, with your flour, set it to the side at the beginning. So I'll mix in the dry, add the buttermilk, mix in the dry, add the buttermilk, mix in the dry, and then mix it for just a little bit. Stop it because you don't want to overmix. Once again, that's a dense cake, so you don't want to overmix it. I'll mix it a little bit, stop it, and I'll finish mixing with the spatula. Now, I wasn't quite prepared. I had to go ahead and put my cake batter in the bowl while I went ahead and greased my bundt pan. So I just put it in the bowl, grease the bundt pan, and then I'm going to go ahead and add the cake batter to the pan. Now, definitely, it'll just fill up half of the pan because, once again, I did half the recipe. I just went ahead and oiled my bundt pan with some baking spray. And baking spray in particular because it has the oil and the flour combined in the spray. So it just makes it easy. But definitely old school methods of just pure butter, spreading some butter around, putting a little bit of flour and just shaking that all around the pan works just as good. Now, some of you might be wondering, why did I decide to make this Kentucky brown butter cake? I saw the recipe and actually it just sounded good and I wanted to try something new. So I did try it and I really liked it. It's like a tea cake. Some people, you can have it in the morning with coffee, or you can just have a nice slice of cake. It doesn't have a rich frosting on it, just has like a light glaze, but it's really good. And for people who may have had Enterman's Louisiana Crunch cake back in the day, it definitely reminded me of a Louisiana Crunch cake. Now the batter is ready for the oven. I cooked it on 325 for about 30 to 35 minutes. It did not take long at all. And there it is. Our cake looks good. It has that nice rich brown color, and that was from the brown butter. So it gave it that nice extra caramel looking color. I'm going to set it to the side and start on the glaze. Oh, right here is where that extra goodness comes in. I'm taking some butter, about a stick of butter, a cup of sugar, and a little bit of water. And I'm going to go ahead and heat that on top of the stove on a medium heat for a few minutes until it starts bubbling. And then I'll take it off the stove and then I'll add in some more vanilla and then a little bit of the rum extract. It's not rum cake. It won't taste like rum cake, but it just be like a hint of flavor. Now this is what adds that extra richness, that extra moisture, that extra flavor to the brown butter cake that we already made. This is the butter sauce, the butter glaze, the butter topping. Always add your extracts after you remove the pan from the stove, because just cooking it basically cooks out the flavor because there's a lot of alcohol and stuff. So it kind of evaporates the flavor. So it's best just to take it off the stove, bring it down, bring the temperature down, then add the flavoring. So that'll maximize the flavor. At this point, that is our butter sauce and our glaze that is going on top of the cake, but not only on top. We're going to poke holes. I'm going to poke holes into the cake and go ahead and put some of that good old butter, rich butter flavor inside the cake. So I just used a handy dandy fork, poke plenty of holes, and then I'm going to go ahead and drizzle some of that butter sauce into the cake. Once I drizzle it in the cake, I'm going to go ahead and flip it over. I'll let it sit for about 5 minutes just to make sure the flavors go in and absorb into the cake. Then I'm going to flip it out and I'm going to use the remaining butter glaze to go on top of the cake. And that's the Kentucky butter cake right there. It's quite simple and very good. Now the cake is flipped right side up. I'm going to go ahead and once again add some holes with my fork to the top of the cake also. So once I drizzle that brown butter glaze, it will also seep into the cake, adding that extra burst of flavor. Once the glaze is spread all over the cake, then that's basically it. You can just let it sit for a few minutes and then you'll have your finished Kentucky brown butter cake. But what I also like to do is I like to sprinkle a little bit of powdered sugar on top. And as you're watching the video, you will notice I made 2 different ones at 2 different times. On this one, I didn't put the powdered sugar, but on the other one, I did. And I just made that in a different pan so it'll have a different look. And you can check that out also. All right, you all. Thanks for coming in the kitchen. Thanks for baking with me today. I hope you have a blessed day and a blessed week. And stay tuned to the next video. So glad you're here. Once again, remember to like, subscribe, and share. I'm going to say that one more time. Please like, subscribe, share, and also hit the notification button so you can see all the videos that are coming that are still to come. Thank you. Take care.